So how do we translate this into an action plan that you can follow on a routine basis to ensure your goals are not just a dream, but actually a reality? Well, the first thing we have to do is we have to look at your runway. Is this going to be achievable? The way we do this, like a plane looks at and says, based on the load that I'm carrying, based on the fuel that I have, and based on my wingspan, maybe even based on the skills of the captain and the co-pilot. How much of a runway does it need in order for that plane to take off? Sometimes the bigger the plane, the bigger the runway required. Well, that's the same thing with your business plan. You want something that's going to be massive and to take off, you need a massive amount of inertia to be able to get off the ground. Now that might be made up in energy, that might be made up in dollars. We'll talk about that a little bit later on when we break up how you're going to hit your targets. So the first thing I want to do is I want you to evaluate, where is that starting point? What does it look like on the ground before we take off? So part of what we're going to do as an exercise for you is I want you to take your goals and put that at the top line here. And then I want to take what your reality is and put it down here and saying, how much do you have in the bank account right now? What does your monthly bills look like? When we look at your monthly bills, we want to look at, is it your rent or your mortgage? We want to look and say, what are your credit card payments? We want to look at to say, what are your other expenses, groceries, insurance, whatever other expenses that you might have. Put those into a game plan. What other inputs do you have? Maybe your spouse works. Maybe you have an annuity from somewhere. Maybe you have a pension. Maybe you have something else coming into the bank account. Let's put all those inputs in and put all the outputs going out. Whatever that is left with, that's what we need to be working with. So to interpret this into an actual evaluation of your current financial position, what I'd like you to do is to go to the learning module, and under this course, you'll find an attached spreadsheet. Click on that spreadsheet. It's called Personal Monthly Budget. And then we're going to open up and we're going to use this as a working activity here. So what we can see here is we have periods of months. So let's just say, for example, in the first 6 months, and say in the first 6 months, we're going to earn, say, net, so maybe about $8,000 net in the first 6 months. Now, if we look at that and we say, well, if we annualize the $8,000, and obviously because it's 6 months, we just multiply it by 2, we come up with $16,000. If we say we're going to earn that maybe in the first 4 months, obviously it's going to be a little different on the annualized basis. Monthly, if we take the $8,000 and we divide it into monthly, that would work out to $2,000 a month. If we have other income, so this again where we talk about, say we have a spouse who's working, or say we have an annuity like a pension coming in, anything else that might be inputs that are coming into our bank account that then we can work from. This is what our total monthly would be. So the $4,000 plus the $2,000. Now remember, I'm looking at nets. In the mortgage business, when we start getting to loan to values and all that other stuff, we look at grosses, but we'll get into that afterwards. But in this situation, we're looking at true numbers and true reflection of the impacts on our bank account. Then we're going to go down and go through all the spreadsheet. And as you can see, we have a lot of different expenses laid out. And each of those expenses we can put in, whether it be our mortgage, whether it be the electrical bills, whether it be gas, whether it be, Netflix or Disney Plus, whichever. Our car expenses, anything like that, insurance, fuel, whatever expenses you might have, credit cards. We're going to put all of those down. I left out the taxes because we already said this was on an after-tax basis. But we do have to start to think about, if our incomes start to get a little bit higher, how that's going to then be handled when we're looking at the mortgage income. Because as you get mortgage income coming in, you need to put aside some money so you can have that saved up for taxes. So if you're anything over that $20,000 to $30,000, you definitely need to think about. If it's under, obviously, speak with your accountant and see what the impact's going to be. Obviously, anyway, speak with your accountant and see what the impact's going to be. Never get advice for accountants. Let them give the advice. So please don't take this as accounting advice. This is just good thought process. So we look here and we say, okay, well, say, for example, hey, you want to be saving for a real estate purchase. So we might want to throw something in there. But at this point, we're not going to. We're just going to kind of leave that as it is. Groceries, we know that's all gone up. And we can take a look here and go down through all of our expenses here. Now, one thing is, this is a great spreadsheet that you can be using, that not only if you get familiarized to be able to help yourself, think about it. This is something that you could walk through some of those people who are saving to buy a house. Maybe they're not ready right now. What a wonderful opportunity to give them a tool set that they're able to use for themselves, to use some calculations. So we can see our total costs after we add everything all up comes to about $5,400. Our total inputs, remember, was $2,000 plus $4,000 was $6,000. So right now we're looking at saying, okay, well, our monthly income position is about $500 to the positive. So, hey, we're cash flow positive. Now, if we would jump up to the top and we'd say, okay, well, instead of having an income of $4,000 a month, let's just say that's $2,000 a month coming from other points. Scroll right back down to the bottom again. And lo and behold, again, the expenses stay the same at $5,400 ish. Our total income is 4,000. That means our monthly position is about $1,400 in the negative. So if it's in the negative of that, then we need to look to say, okay, well, what is our total savings? Well, if we have $5,000 savings, that means we're going to last about 3.5 months. And at that point, we're at the end of our runway. So it's really important to be able to look at this. This is a wonderful tool set to be able to not only understand what your risks are, is really to have you motivate and say, hey, what can I do? What other options can I add into my lifestyle? What other savings can I put into buying that real estate or that other investment vehicle that I'm looking for? By making sure that I'm budgeting it properly for myself and potentially also for my family. So hope that helped out. Spend some time on this. Get this really honed in so you got your expenses. Because the next thing we're going to do is, now that we know the length of our runway and what we're able to do from a financial start point, when we get off the ground, let's really look to see what heights we can get to.